Two teams with eyes on the top of the NFC. The Rams take down the Seahawks 21-19 and take control for now of the NFC West. Welcome back to the BetCanada channel. Katie Caldwell and Jeff Lloyd back with you today. Jeff, both offenses may want to forget this one, but this was a defensive masterclass. What stood out to you most in this very narrow victory for the Rams?
I think I've been one who's probably highly underestimated the Rams defense. Um, I
Can't
just
anymore.
yeah, when Sam Darnold, who in the last couple of weeks just literally looked like a guy who was just absolutely in the zone, scorching everything that came
Mhm.
to him, and you would've said, "All right, well, there's gonna be a trip up here for the Seahawks." I wouldn't have thought it would have been the Rams defense. I just didn't see it coming like that, and, Darnold, probably and there's been I would say this is the worst Sam Darnold day since everyone has realized that Sam Darnold was actually good. There were days for the Panthers, for the Jets, where nobody thought Sam Darnold was good, and he had a couple of snoozers.
Mm.
I think this is the one where all of a sudden it was like, "Oh, anybody can be humbled, I guess, on any day." And that was kind of the day it was, for Sam Darnold yesterday. And, but yet somehow there you were up until essentially the very end of the
The
it's
very
not like
end, exactly.
I kept peeking on over and going, as bad as it was, there was still a chance.
Mhm.
There was still a chance, and so, and look, moral victories, we know, da, 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 da. But you gotta look at each other in that locker room and go, "Man, we played like absolute and still
Yep.
almost got on this plane
Mhm.
with a W in our hand."
Yep.
So, no, it's not gonna change anything, it's not gonna make anybody feel better, but in the back of your minds, you gotta understand, we're not always gonna be great. Not every week is gonna be our
Mhm.
best effort, and hopefully, that's okay because maybe most of our effort sometimes and most of the time should be good enough to win.
Yeah.
We definitely see a lot of bad games where we see teams win and not necessarily deserved it or played well enough to win, were just good enough when it mattered, and Seattle
Mhm.
still almost snuck out of there
Yes.
yesterday because I think the Rams, which was weird, I thought for the Rams, I think the Rams actually were to a point where they were kinda comfortable with their defense. And you never see Sean McVay kinda be like, "Get
Yep.
off the gas pedal, don't the deal." And it's kind of what it felt like for the Rams, and I mean, God bless them because I can see why you felt it yesterday. Maybe it was the black uniforms, who knows? But, it was a different approach yesterday from the Rams, almost maybe bit
Mhm.
them because it's really weird to see McVay take his foot off the accelerator.
Both of these offenses just aren't what we're used to seeing, but I think it speaks to how good these two defenses are playing. Do the 4 interceptions for Sam Darnold worry you? Because this has been one of the most explosive passing attacks. The one thing that I took away from yesterday is that he needs to be more willing to take the sack. Like, a negative play is always going to be better than a turnover, and sometimes it feels like he's playing hero ball on every down, and that's just not going to be sustainable against a defense like the Rams.
Well, that's also the thing when you go through a really good run and a really
Mm,
successful run, because there's balls you got away with. So it's almost, heat check, like, and that I am so in the zone. I think I am impervious to a mistake. I think
mm,
I am impervious to a screw up, and it happens. And, a few years ago when we had a conversation about Sam Darnold like this, what would it have been? So and so team is maybe not letting Sam Darnold start the next week. That's not where Sam Darnold is at anymore. He
mhm,
is proven now. He is established. It is okay to have a bad game. And,
mhm.
yes,
Especially
bad.
within your division, it happens all the
Yep.
time.
And that it's not an easy division by any means, and I mean,
Mhm,
it was the Los Angeles Rams. It's not like, they, gotten by the New Orleans Saints yesterday, anything of that, and it just hopefully just drives the whole product to a little bit more of, sticking to details,
mhm.
understanding that, exactly, live to fight another play, live to fight another series, because those 4 interceptions obviously were extremely, extremely crucial, and it happens everywhere. A lot of guys, it is one of the biggest things you have to understand, and it's okay that we punt. Like,
Yeah.
we'll talk a little Lions Eagles today, but there were times last night where Dan Campbell, a field goal's okay. Dan Campbell just put the ball. Like, you don't have to be so super and uber aggressive all the
Mhm.
time. There's 2 phases of this game. It's not like baseball where if you're out on the field, you ain't gonna score any runs. Field position counts, turnovers counts. There's so many other things that matter. You can't always think things are gonna go your way on the offensive side of the ball, and that's what usually was gonna end up biting you in the ass.
Quick pause. If you haven't subscribed to the BetCanada YouTube channel, you can do so below. It's free and it helps support our channel so we can keep bringing you NFL and NHL content. Now, back to the show. These two defenses, like, I'm not usually one that really appreciates a good defensive battle. I oftentimes find those games quite boring, but this one just blew me away. The fact that they were in a position to win this game with a field goal in the end was because of this defense. Like, even on a 4 turnover day, to leave the game within 2 points of a legit Super Bowl contender. Like, as a Seahawks fan, I don't feel bad leaving that game. I'll be honest, Jeff, I keep getting shades of Legion of Boom when I watch this team.
Well, it certainly has to do with the rookie safety, right? Yeah, you don't normally get these 6 foot
Mhm.
through two. I mean, you want to talk about somebody that kinda looks like, could you show me, hey, for if you didn't know what Cam Chancellor looked like, it was that
It
right
was that.
there. 6'3", 220 long arms, and will absolutely rock you. Um, so yeah, defensively, no question about it. We're about, I think from today, we're about a month away. We're gonna get to do this all over again on a Thursday night, except this time it's gonna be up in Seattle. So you're really that is gonna be one game that is absolutely gonna be for everybody, a great part of probably the holiday season, getting to see it and just watching how these 2 teams get from where they were yesterday, navigate the next couple of weeks to this next highly anticipated battle between the 2 of them. And you see the fact that they're balanced, and I think
Mhm.
that's what makes it really interesting, and however it shakes out, I don't know that it necessarily say the Rams win the West or the Seahawks win the West. I don't know that that automatically kinda hurts the fate of the other because, defense usually travels. Good quarterback play usually travels. So I don't think however, whichever one maybe ends up on the wrong end here, it's really gonna derail anything for them.
Mhm.
So you watch these 2 teams and just the excitement they have in Seattle, it's physical, and you gotta keep in mind, they're not even completely built yet on that defensive side of the ball as to what they're truly looking for. But he's done a fantastic job there. You
Yeah.
can see why Seattle was so focused on making him the guy, getting him to be the guy,
Yep.
and he's really kinda just put it together and quickly. Granted, it wasn't that, like, major of a rebuild for Seattle, but man, he's absolutely put his stamp on this in a really, really quick fashion.
To turn a 25th ranked defense to a top 5 in just 2 years is truly, truly incredible. One thing I did want to point out about this game, I never imagined a world in which a punt would sneak its way into the rundown for any of these game recaps. Jeff, that was the best punt I've ever seen. But I also just think it speaks to how complete the Rams are right now, that they can truly beat you on so many levels, even coming down to the greatest punt in history, maybe.
Y there's it's the Rams, and, I think it's probably McVay and the personality. It's probably the story of, Stafford, who spent all that time in Detroit on teams that were just never really that successful or really never that competitive, and you keep in mind that never really done it with a first round pick because they were always, like, anti first round picks, so they traded every single one of them away,
Right.
and, just finding and identifying and knowing what is a player to you and according to your system, and you had it pigeonholed and exactly what you're looking for, and then there was a punt, and up until that punt yesterday, definitely before your time, Katie, there was a Randall Cunningham. Now Randall Cunningham was a quarterback, obviously. He was in Giant Stadium. They back in those days, they used to just have the quarterback take a couple of steps a little further back in shotgun and just have the quarterback punt it. But normally you did it in like the red zone. You figure it was a better chance to get the ball inside the 5, whatever. He was inside. He was on his own goal line. He punted it like 92 yards in a windstorm in Giant Stadium. So obviously that was not the case yesterday, but it was definitely that vibe of just like, holy God, man, what did you just do to that poor ball? And like You don't see it all, but also maybe when you're the punter for the Rams, you're not punting much, so he probably had a lot of built up energy and was, "You know what? I might not get to do this again for another couple of weeks, so I'm gonna get it all out here." But yeah, to highlight a punt is not something that might be a first here on the BetCanada channel, yes.
It might be. I don't remember the last time that I was standing up in my living room screaming about a punt happening on my television. The last question for you, Jeff. Did this change how you view either of these teams? Because for me, I honestly don't think it did. I was a little surprised that there wasn't more offense in that one, but I am so high on both these defenses. I chalk that up to just, wow, that's two really good teams within the division.
Yeah, I mean, I believe we both were we thought maybe Seattle was gonna sneak out here, but when you look at it, you say, "Oh, well, Seattle lost by 2 on the road to the Rams."
And if they hit
Okay.
that field goal, then they
Yeah, but
win. Like it.
yeah, but you look at it though from that standpoint, yeah, okay, obviously, so not that crazy. It does make me again thinking that we're going to do this in again a month. That might be the one where it's like, all right, well, I've seen your best, you've seen my best now.
Mm.
Maybe a little more points that second time around. But like I've been saying, I don't think it changes anything for either team. Um, I I probably still deeply believe these might be the two best teams overall in the NFC right now.
I still do too.
There's other teams who just not seeing enough consistent effort on both sides of the ball, but that is not the question right now with the Seattle Seahawks or the Los Angeles Rams. These teams are stout.